Last time.
Scooby, Scooby-Doo, Scooby, Scooby-Doo. Yeah!
Might solve a mystery or rewrite history. DuckTales.
And with computer-enhanced motor and sensory capabilities, he has become the ultimate super cop, RoboCop.
And now, Pincho Wars. Return of the cartoons.
Our first one up today, we're going with He-Man first and foremost. So let's check out He-Man. Real quick, some information on He-Man. 1983 to 1985, 2 seasons, 130 episodes in 2 seasons. Freaking ridiculous. We have a lot of different voice actors doing a lot of different roles. They're like, one person does like 12 different people. It's ridiculous. Just a quick and dirty recap. Prince Adam is the young son of Eternia, rulers King Randor and Queen Marlena. Whenever Prince Adam uses his sword of power, by holding it aloft and saying the magic words, we all know what the magic words are. By the power of Grayskull, I have the power. Yeah, you know it. He's transformed into He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. They face the Sorceress, Beastman, Skeletor, and all of his minions, and they try to save Eternia. Real quick, here we go. It is He-Man, Masters of the Universe.
And the Masters of the Universe. I am Adam, Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer, my fearless friend. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grayskull." Became the mighty Battle Cat, and I became He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Only 3 others share this secret. Our friends, the Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, and Orko. Together we defend Castle Grayskull from the evil forces of Skeletor.
Oh my gosh, so many childhood memories flood me every time that I end up seeing this. First off, it gave unrealistic body expectations to young boys. Okay, first and foremost, let's just admit that, because they were way too muscular, way too over the top. Their muscles had muscles, okay? I think they had toe muscles. I'm not exactly sure. It was absolutely ridiculous. One of the very first figures that I've talked a lot about He-Man on my stream. One of the very first figures I ever had, Man-at-Arms, one of my favorite characters. I loved sitting in front of this cartoon every day. Now, the intro itself, it is great. It introduces all of your characters. It shows you a lot of action. It identifies the villains. It really kind of sets everything up, and it's not super long, or at least it doesn't feel super long to me. And I'm pretty sure the one caveat that Boomer's going to bring up again is the executive producer's name being splashed up on the screen for more than 10
Spoiler
seconds.
alert.
Because he's been nailing every single one of those. So my vote for this one is absolutely an amazing intro. You can fight me all day on this one, but this one holds a special place in my heart. Let's go on over to Boomer and Nessa. What do you guys think?
So we're talking like a lot of really interesting stylistic choices here. Again, I do have notes for this one. One, it's about twice as long as it needs to be. They have a lot of narration, which is another big pet peeve of mine. And of course, that executive producer splash is a no-go in my eyes, be it tradition or not. I'm personally leaning towards B. A great intro. Ness, you got any thoughts?
No, I agree with you as well.
Okay.
Doing.
Trog, what do you think?
Already doing.
All right, so I remember this not because I watched this cartoon, but my brother was a huge fan of this cartoon. I don't think it really appeals to the typical female. So being the typical female of the group, I will say this didn't really appeal to me. I agree with a little bit of the Boomer, a little too much talking. It was great that you introduced the characters. Okay, loved that because I don't know who a lot of these people are. And told me who the protagonist, who their antagonist was, but it was just a lot of talking. The cat was cool, the effects behind the cat were cool, and the music behind it, I felt like does not match with what was going on. It just, that music feels really peppy and dee, and that, to me, that doesn't like scream He-Man, so.
Understandable. Knight Lebuhdez?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
So we are a house divided on this one. So my instinct is with you, Verbal, right? Like, maybe I'm just riding a giant testosterone high. Like, my beard grew 3 inches just from that intro. I wanted to go with, like, A plus C in the finals, but I believe Lebuhdez.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more with Trog. It's definitely the cartoon is meant to appeal to boys and not girls. It's not something I ever watched as a kid. I think it could have been persuaded because there were things I liked about it, but I didn't like the narration. I think it should have been a song like Inspector Gadget. They explain everything, but in song form. So.
Actually, didn't Inspector Gadget say do Inspector Gadget do ooh go?
Yeah, that was pretty much the whole song. That was it right there. You encapsulated the whole song.
Or they explained it, but it was a song.
No, so in the end, because we were a house very divided, my first gut instinct was amazing. Lebuhdez wanted to go with C. This is a good intro. So in the end, we settled where it looks like everybody settled with B. It was a great intro.
Great intro. Excellent. Buttons?
I'm actually the one who voted for it. It's a good intro. It's not amazing. It's not spectacular. Everything has been said, I agree with. The opening was bland. The wording was over the top. Where's the intro? Come on. I was expecting like a jingle that matches the thighs of He-Man, but instead there was nothing, and I was just And like, I understand that they need to get credit, but my goodness, pick a better place to put your name. Not in the middle that just derailed the entire thing. That's all I gotta say.
Well, no, I appreciate that. And I agree. Like, I've got personal bias on this, which is why I wanted to assemble a group of people to talk about this. It looks like according to chat and everybody who did vote that this is going to end up being a great intro, dropping that in the B slot. As
a major stan, I do want to agree, especially with Boomer, but everybody else. The executive producer thing, I think I did turn to Lebuhdez.
Yeah, and that appears in more cartoon intros than you actually realize. It's not just Lou Schreimer or whatever his name was that does it. There's a number of them that do it, but it does seem to be like Filmation is the main culprit. All right, moving on. Boomer, Nessa, where would you like us to go next?
We're gonna go with the Transformers. I had to look through the list.
Oh, I like this. Oh, Transformers. All right. Transformers, 1984, 1987, 4 seasons, 98 episodes. This included the voices of the 80s. It included Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime, Ironhide, Frank Welker as Megatron, Mirage, Soundwave, Casey Kasem as Blue Streak and Cliffjumper, Chris Latta, Dave Gilvezan was Bumblebee. Summary of this that I pulled from TVDB is 2 opposing factions of transforming alien robots engaged in a battle that has the fate of Earth in the balance. That is the whole summary. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Transformers. Here we go.
More than meets the eye. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons, the Transformers. Robots in disguise. The Transformers. More than meets the eye. The Transformers.
All right, Boomer and Nessa, we're going to start off with you on this one.
It's excellent. That's my feedback. No, Boomer didn't watch a lot of Transformers, but I did quite a bit. I like the intro. I mean, it doesn't go into detail like everything else that you're going to see. And you know there's good robots. You know there's bad robots. They transform. You know what you're getting into as far as the main characters. And then eventually the show kind of elaborates on it more. But I love it. I love Transformers in general. I'm also probably being a little bit biased.
So I was really digging sort of the synthwave art intro that kind of like basically evolved into the backdrop of the battle sequence that took place here. Everything as far as like audio wise top notch. Love the music. I don't care for, again, this will be my second use of the term run-on sentence of the day, but fighting the evil forces of the Decepticons, like that's a sentence that takes about 2/3 of the intro. And my God, there had to be a different way you could say it. Other than that, I'm leaning towards high B, low A, and I think we're gonna split the difference and go A on this one.
Excellent. Trog?
Yeah, so this is a really great intro, I will say. The very beginning reminded me a little of Tron with that grid going in. Don't know if anybody else got that vibe. Very peppy. Music is great. A lot of action, a lot of noises when the Transformer name comes in. Again, I didn't watch this cartoon. My brother did, but I remember it being on, and the tune is very catchy, stuck in my head. But it doesn't tell you anything about the Transformers other than they're robots in disguise, right? It's about it. So no antagonist, no protagonist. I'll give it a B. Great intro.
Excellent. Excellent. Knight, Lebuhdez?
Yeah, I think I wanted to like that because, like Slam said in the chat, right? Who among us didn't go around singing "robots in disguise" as a kid, right? I wanted to like that, but like I kept waiting for the intro to bite me, to grab me, to do something, and it didn't. And then next thing I knew, it was over. So I think we briefly discussed back and forth between low C, high D, and in the end we decided that Charity is good. So we gave it a good intro.
All right, Buttons.
I have been listening to everybody what been saying, and I'm torn on this because I agree 100%. They only say a few words in the entire opening, and you're like, wow. They're only saying the same 5 words over and over again, but it's catchy and it's jingle, and there's not really a whole lot of substance of leading to the show, so you actually know what's going on. But this is where I have to say, I love this intro, and I think it should go into A for one thing and one thing only, and that is that amazing, I don't even know if it's a guitar rip in the beginning, but that guitar rip in the beginning just puts it over the top for me. And it's quick and it's easy and it's done. I like that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with the fact that it does not necessarily set up anything for the series itself. It doesn't give you antagonists or protagonists. It gives you see 2 warring factions going against each other, but you're not 100% sure who they are or what they are. I do like the high impact of action that occurs within this. It's short, so it's brief. It's a 30-second intro, so it's there and it's gone, and it gets you right to the heart of the series where you want to be anyway. You see all these awesomely transforming robots and whatnot, and there's just the sound effect of the Transformers themselves when they transform is just so iconic that you can hear that anywhere, and you know immediately that there are Transformers involved. So I voted for an amazing intro. I also have, once again, a whole lot of tons of bias of this, knowing I'm trying to keep the series out of my judging of this, but also knowing the series and how good it became and how long running it's been, because there's still a narration of Transformers running today. But yes, by the looks of chat itself, it looks like we are going to go with an amazing A intro. So I will put that up here. Oh, good. So it did double up. I was wondering what was going to happen here, if it was going to double up or not. Trog, where would you like to go next?
So I have 2 on this list that I really hope that we review today, and I'm kind of torn between the 2, but I'll go in alphabetical order. And to pay whatever to one of the characters that I dressed up as in high school, I'm going with Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Oh, all right. I like this. Alvin and the Chipmunks. My God, Alvin and the Chipmunks have been around for so flippin' long. Alvin and the Chipmunks started in 1983, ran to 1990. 8 seasons, 169 episodes. Voice talents of Ross Bagdasarian Jr., Jance Carmen, Frank Welker, of course, once again, it's a Welker. Nancy Cartwright is in this, that you may know as Lisa Simpson, famously. Peter Cullen is also in this. Barry Livingston, B.G. Ward, Tress McNeil. Animated series about 3 Chipmunk brothers, Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. The trio have been adopted and are living with David, the human. Each show finds the boys getting into trouble and new and unusual situations. Alvin, Simon, and Theodore were also not the only Chipmunks in this series. The Chipettes were also in this series, but I don't believe that they come into the intro. But they did come in very early into the series. So without further ado, we're going to watch Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Guaranteed to brighten your day.
love that one so much. Trog, your thoughts?
All right, so I saw everybody that's here on camera. I saw their heads bopping, so definitely very catchy tune. Again, you're singing it in the store, right? It introduces the three main characters, the three chipmunks. You really don't know much about them. You don't really know much about anything other than this is going to be a good time. And who doesn't want a good time? Very nostalgic for me. I have to give it an A.
Excellent. Knight and Lebuhdez.
I think we don't really have any notes for this. We're gonna, I hate to overuse this phrase, but like 10 out of 10, no notes.
Thumbs up.
Like,
yeah.
you know, basically it doesn't use words to describe what's going on, but you know that these three kids are going to get into wacky hijinks and probably annoy the very frustrated looking Dave, and it's gonna be in my head for the next week.
Yeah. The song is really catchy and the animation is great, and I think goes really well with the song. So
amazing.
I like it. Buttons?
I will say that Alvin and Chipmunks has a special place in my heart, but I will look at its opening, and I think it does a really good job on a visual aspect of things to show you the premise of the show by saying like, yeah, you know, it's in their minds, it's imagination, but you can see like all these amazing adventures that they do there. And I think that's something that a lot of intros maybe doesn't really do well on, is like, yeah, you might see the villains or something like that, but I don't know, I feel like if the intro does a really good job of like showing you the premise of the show visually, not always by the words as well too. I mean, you know, but I mean that opening beat was really good, so you know, I give it an amazing as well.
All right, Boomer, Nessa?
Gonna go ahead and ditto Buttons and Brews there. That's pretty much what I had to say. Ness?
I agree. I think the more you watch it, you understand a little bit better what the hell they're saying. But I think going into the first time you watch it, you're like, what the hell is happening here? But
Maybe watch it at 33% speed and kind of.
yeah, like let's slow it down a little bit. But after a while, it's kind of like when you listen to the song and you're like, I don't know what they're saying, and then you know, a couple times, and you're like, okay, I'm down with this. That's the only thing I think coming into it, like, obviously it's not my first time watching it, but if somebody watched it for the first time, they'd be like, what is happening? What are they saying? I can see visually, thankfully, but I don't know what they're saying.
Excellent. Yeah, and I agree with everybody here that it is a great intro. The song is super catchy. It grabs you right away because it's got that like high energy to it. The upper pitched voices, you just know that there's going to be energy within that as well. It's just overall, I think it's really good. I voted amazing intro as well. And by the looks of it, it is a unanimous decision that this is an amazing intro. We got 7 votes. The voting's not done yet, and I think I'm going to call it here. I don't think there's going to be 8 votes all of a sudden for anything else. So we're going to go ahead and just stick Alvin and the Chipmunks right where it belongs right now in the A. This is an amazing intro slot, and call it.
I'd also like to echo a question from Green Dragon in chat asking which chipmunk Trog dressed as, because I was wondering myself.
Oh, Trog?
I was totally Alvin. I mean, come on. If you know me, you know that I'm a huge troublemaker. And
No, not at all. All right, Knight, Lebuhdez, what would you like me to play next?
We talked about this, and I heard there were some accusations of some fake Ghostbusters somewhere, so if we could listen to the real Ghostbusters, I think that'd be great.
The real Ghostbuster. Yeah, we actually did discuss, we had it before, it was Filmation's Ghostbusters. That was there's that was a thing that we watched.
A shit show.
That was a thing we watched. The Real Ghostbusters, 1986 to 1991, 7 seasons, 138 episodes within those 7 seasons. I touched on this briefly with the Filmation Ghostbusters, but if you don't know why they're called the Real Ghostbusters, Filmation had a live-action TV show in the 60s called The Ghostbusters. They rushed and based their cartoon out on that series so they could get it out first with a copyright name, forcing our Ghostbusters to then have to be called the Real Ghostbusters. Features the voice actors of Lorenzo Music as Peter Venkman for the first 2 seasons, David Collier as Peter Venkman for seasons 3 and 7. Frank Welker is Ray. Arsenio Hall was Winston for the first 3 seasons. Buster Jones was Winston for the remainder. Maurice LaMarche was Egon. Lauren Summers and Katie Suchi were both Janine for seasons 1 and 2 and 3 and 7 respectively. The Real Ghostbusters continues where the first movie left off, where the 4 Ghostbusters face the forces of the supernatural. Helping out the Ghostbusters would be their secretary, Janine Melnitz, and Louis Tully, who was not voiced by Rick Moranis. They would also be joined by Slimer, which I never really quite understood. He was like his pet at this point in time. So let's check this out. Ghostbusters, here we go. There we go. The Real Ghostbusters. Night Lebuhdez, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love it. Amazing intro. I mean, I'm very biased. I loved this show as a kid. I watched it before I watched the actual Ghostbusters movie because I was too young for it. I took dance classes as a kid. I remember we did a dance to this song one year, so very into it.
Yeah, I mean, it bops. It tells you what's going to go on. You've got our protagonists who have, not jetpacks, who have, whatever, proton packs. They're going to be fighting ghosts, and it just, we all remember it like 30, 40 years later. So what could be bad? Although the one thing that was weird, by the way, was I don't quite know why Janine was blowing them a kiss goodbye. Although it did set up a good joke where Slimer came over and just slimed her, but that was still weird.
Buttons?
It is the theme song from the movie. That's all I have to say. It was like, there was no premise to it. It was just like a great song from the movie. And I'm not going to rag the movie's theme song. It's a stellar thing. But like, I was just wanting more, like an explanation, maybe its own take on the theme song or something like that. Still, like, I mean, like, how can you disagree with a theme song being not a 10 out of 10 song? An amazing thing. It was fun. It was fine. I wouldn't say it was like an amazing opening with that. Might be a little bit controversial in my opinion, but I'm going to say it's a good intro.
Okay. All right. Boomer, Nessa?
So one of the things that I liked about this one is they took the obviously the same theme. It was not the same recording. It was a cover. But the fact that they used that to just change up the formula just a little bit. You had a really cool art style, which had the sort of caricatures of all these characters without being too over the top. And just that little bit of like distortion and like the way that things move and they're animated, it just sort of gives it a really unique art look. And honestly, I'm going to go 9.5 out of 10. Very few notes for this intro.
Agreed. I don't have anything else to add. I agree.
Okay, Trog.
Yeah, so again, like Buttons and Bruce said, why would you not use that theme song from the original movie to introduce the cartoon? I mean, it's very catchy. Everybody knows it, at least everybody who was around during that time. But yeah, great use of that song. Great also other sound effects, like the screeching car and stuff. It blended it really well. You could still hear the theme song, but it gave that little extra to the actual animation. Introduced, without even saying anything, introduced who the good guys and bad guys are. And yeah, I mean, great cartoon style and overall an amazing intro. I gave it an A.
Excellent. I am one of the few people who gave this a great intro, a B. And here's my reasoning. First off, because of the fact that it did rely so heavily upon Ray Parker Jr.'s theme song from the movie that was also a major radio hit as well, I personally feel kind of detracts from it a little bit because it feels like it's pulling from that familiarity of that particular song in order to sell the thing. Now, they do that in a lot of different places as well, don't get me wrong. But for me personally, I feel that is just, I felt that something different could have been done for the intro as far as the song goes. Otherwise, everything else about that intro was spot on. The animation was great. The introduction of all the characters, the sound effects that they used, like they used the Ecto 1 sound effect as it's screaming down the road. It was great. It was wonderful. But I just kind of feel like it was kind of a cheese move to pull that song in. And I know that I'm in the minority of saying this, but I just feel like it was kind of a cheese move to pull a song in that was in the top 10 Billboard hits, was also in all the movies, to really kind of sell that cartoon, especially when it was first starting out. I understand why they did it, and I don't disagree with why they did it. I just feel like it was a cheese move. I voted as a great intro, but by the looks of chat, it doesn't matter what I say.
You are correct, sir!
Because everyone has agreed that this is an amazing intro, and thus the words have been spoken.
Burbs, you and I will both know true art when we see it, so you can cry on my shoulder as well.
I appreciate that. I really do. Now, where the hell is this? Oh, there it is. All right, so this is going up in the great intro slot right there. I mean, I don't disagree with that ruling. I really don't. I just have my own personal reasons for ranking it where I did. Buttons, what would you like me to play next?
Okay, as a child of the 90s, I feel like we could hit the same classic hits like I've seen on syndication, or we try to throw a little curveball in there and get some get an interesting take. I remember liking this movie when it first came out, or at least when I saw it first time. Let's try the Police Academy. Kind of a weird premise as a show.
Oh, I love this. I've been waiting for somebody to ask for this one. Unfortunately, when you go back and look at the Police Academy nowadays, it hasn't aged 100% well. In any case, 1988, 1989, 2 seasons, 65 episodes. Some of the voice actors: Howard Morris, Ron Rubin, Dan Hennessy, Don Franks, which we've heard Don Franks and Dan Hennessy before. It's based on the notoriously popular Police Academy movies. The show chronologically takes place between the 4th and 5th film. And yes, there was like 7 of these films, I swear. I think it kind of overstayed its welcome. We're gonna watch this. If you've seen any of the Police Academy, you know who some of the characters are. Hightower, Booger, no, Booger was from Nerds, never mind. Hightower, a couple other people. Yeah, any case, here we go. It's Police Academy, the animated series.
For you and me. Hooray, the Police Academy! Hooray! Blue! They're tested, tried and true! They keep the peace! For you and me. Hooray, the Police Academy!
Hey, somebody forgot to dot the I.
I'll fix it.
Police Academy, the series.
Hooray!
Buttons, this was your choice. What are your thoughts on this one?
You know, some old guy in a boardroom was like, we need a show for kids. And like another guy was like, I just watched like the Police Academy in the theaters. We should do this. And they're like, yeah, that sounds great. Because there's a lot of like shows that should probably not have been shows for kids because they were based on like rated R movies. There's a few others on the list that I see that would probably be picking. But like, I mean, it's fine. It was great. It was good. It has a nice intro, kind of really introduces all the characters. You see what it's going for comedy, which I think you see that with all the interactions. Can I just say that I feel like the words in the song don't really match up. I felt like they were like two opposing forces, like are trying to go at each other. But that piano riff, again, I have to say, it's good. It's a good intro.
Okay, Boomer, Nessa?
I'll let you take this one first.
I only really have one thought, and it's not even just general. It's my random thoughts that I had like last time. None of these people should be police officers. I don't even think they're like succeeding at life in general. Like, they need to be put in a box somewhere because they're not doing very well.
So upon first watching this, I don't really know what my opinion is, and I don't want to watch it 3 or 4 more times to get an opinion. Because again, what the hell did I just watch?
It's not as bad as Hulk Hogan, though.
Oh, good heavens, no. The Hulk Hogan's going straight in the dumpster. This one, on the other hand, I'm going to go middle of the road. Good intro.
Okay. Trog?
I have one phrase for this intro. This is a hot mess. I mean, come on. And I know that the movies are a hot mess. Of course, the cartoon's going to be a hot mess. But really, I mean, all you see are a bunch of antics. It has great music. I will definitely give it that. But it doesn't really tell me anything, but it's a hot mess. It's a good intro. I give it a C.
I go back to previous statements from the previous stream of there was a lot of cocaine in the 80s. Knight and Lebuhdez.
So I don't think either of us really, like, I'll say me personally, I'm with Boomer on this one. My first thought was, well, I don't know what I think right now, but I will say the entire time it was playing, we were bopping. Like, if you look just at the music, it's a bop. And I kind of enjoyed, like, I know that the intro is just a bunch of antics, but I kind of enjoyed watching these fuck up cops just, like, you know, do antics. So I think we went a little high and decided that because it was a bop, it was great. But thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we really liked the song. I like watching antics. I thought it was entertaining. My one thought was that there was a dude getting away in a hang glider, which made me think that I feel like there's a lot of hang gliders in cartoons and way more than there are in real life. It's weird.
Kind of expected that to be a bigger part of my life in the 80s, actually.
Like quicksand.
And like quicksand.
Exactly.
Quicksand, the Bermuda Triangle, and hang gliders. Where are they? We don't have any of those right now. I actually voted that this was, I was kind of fluctuating between good and great, and I gave it benefit of the doubt, and I voted great. I think as far as a cartoon intro goes, it does what it's supposed to. It shows you antics of the cartoon. Like, none of these cartoons are ever meant to be like Shakespearean pieces. Not really. They're supposed to be silly. They're supposed to be wacky. They're supposed to be zany. The song was I could go either. I mean, at least it had this the tune of the Police Academy in the background. The lyrics, though, like Buttons was saying, kind of seemed like in direct opposition of each other, or was it Trog? I forget who said that, but somebody had said that the lyrics were in direct opposition, basically, of each other. Some of the character design I felt didn't quite match the characters that I remembered from the movies. However, it's a cartoon, it's interpretation, it's artistic licensing. I get that. I did vote that it was a great intro. I didn't think it, and even that was kind of pushing it. But it does look like, according to chat, according to the masses, it could be better. I can't say that I disagree with that either. It's definitely...
That's fair.
Yeah. It could be a better intro. They had a lot of places that they could have gone with this instead of where they did. It's not necessarily indicative of the series, because I do remember enjoying this series quite a lot. But we're not judging this series. We're looking at the intros. So I think this is a fair shake on this one.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. They got a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. They got the best for so much less. You really flip your lid. From bikes to trains to